The housing crisis, a decades-long predicament. Introduction. The housing market in many developed economies has been a source of growing concern for several decades. Since the 1970s, an alarming trend has emerged, where housing prices have doubled roughly every 10 years, significantly outpacing the growth of wages. This has led to an unaffordability crisis, with far-reaching consequences that touch upon immigration patterns, outward migration, declining birth rates, and wealth inequality. In this document, we will delve into the complex web of factors that have contributed to this crisis and explore potential solutions. 1. Escalating housing prices. Over the past 5 decades, housing prices have experienced a consistent and dramatic increase. This trend, often referred to as housing inflation, has made it increasingly challenging for individuals and families to afford homes in many developed nations. While wages have remained relatively stagnant, the cost of housing has spiraled out of control, pushing the dream of homeownership further out of reach for many. 2. Stagnant wages. Wage growth has not kept pace with the soaring housing costs. The result is that a significant portion of the population is now forced to allocate a substantial portion of their income towards housing expenses, leaving them with little financial flexibility for other essential needs and investments, such as education, healthcare, and retirement savings. 3. Immigration patterns. One contributing factor to the housing crisis is the complex relationship between housing prices and immigration patterns. As housing prices rise, particularly in urban centers, they often deter potential immigrants who find it increasingly difficult to afford housing upon arrival. This can lead to a decline in inward migration, which can have both economic and social consequences, including labor shortages in key industries. 4. Outward migration. On the flip side, unaffordable housing prices drive many residents, particularly young professionals and families, to consider moving to areas with more affordable housing options. This outward migration can result in a talent drain, where skilled workers leave expensive cities for regions with lower living costs. This, in turn, can exacerbate economic disparities between different parts of a country. 5. Declining birth rates. Another troubling consequence of the housing crisis is the decline in birth rates in developed economies. Families, burdened by the high cost of housing, often delay or forego having children altogether. This trend has profound implications for the future demographics of these societies and can result in long-term economic challenges, including an aging population and potential labor shortages. 6. Wealth inequality. The rising housing prices have created a clear division between those who can afford multiple properties and those who struggle to afford even one. This has led to the emergence of a wealthy class of landlords who profit from the unaffordability of housing, effectively fighting over a decreasing pool of tenants. This wealth inequality further widens the gap between the haves and the have-nots, perpetuating social and economic disparities. 7. Potential solutions. Addressing the housing crisis is a complex task that requires a multifaceted approach. Some potential solutions include: A. Affordable housing initiatives. Governments can implement policies to encourage the development of affordable housing units and ensure they are accessible to low and middle-income individuals and families. B. Wage growth. Efforts should be made to increase wage growth and reduce income inequality, ensuring that people have the financial means to afford housing. C. Zoning and land use reform. Reforms in zoning and land use regulations can promote more efficient land development and reduce the artificial scarcity of housing in certain areas. D. Incentives for homeownership. Government programs can provide incentives for first-time homebuyers, such as tax credits or subsidies, to make homeownership more attainable. E. Immigration policies. Balanced immigration policies that take into account housing needs should be developed to ensure that immigration patterns contribute positively to the economy without exacerbating housing demand. F. Support for families. Policies that support families, such as affordable childcare and parental leave, can alleviate some of the financial pressures that discourage childbirth. Conclusion. The housing crisis that has unfolded since the 1970s is a multifaceted problem with wide-ranging consequences. It is characterized by the alarming trend of housing prices doubling every decade while wages stagnate, leading to unaffordability, outward migration, declining birth rates, and wealth inequality. Addressing this crisis requires a concerted effort from governments, policymakers, and communities to create solutions that ensure housing is not just a privilege for the wealthy but a fundamental right for all.